Oh, now I recognize faces. Good to see you this morning. All right, Art, I'm going to go get out of the way.
Arthur Evans, Christopher Messeroni, we need you up here.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Diane Nadeau. I'm the President and CEO of the Windham Region Chamber of Commerce. We have a military service council, and part of that is our Windham Region Coffeehouse for veterans. Again, I'd like to welcome you here today. I'd like to welcome all of our speakers and everyone from the military who is here to support our Vietnam veterans. One moment of housekeeping. Because of COVID, we ask that you please remain socially distanced. If you have to move around the field, please wear a mask. There are 2 bathrooms on either side. After the end of the ceremony, you will be exiting the field over here through this gate. There is a gate there, trust me. Can't see it, but there is. You are all welcome to join us back at the Fin Fur Feather Club at the end of the ceremony. The directions are on your program. We'll have some hot dogs and hamburgers and refreshments. Again, thank you all for being here, and we'll start our ceremony.
Welcome home, brothers and sisters. Please stand, remove your hats, please. We're going to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, if you can. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. You move your caps, please. Let's sing the Star Spangled Banner. Present arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly gleaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Present arms. Order, arms. Present arms. Order, arms.
Morning, fellow non-vets, other military personnel, ladies and gentlemen and families. Thank you for coming. We will take a moment of silence, bow your head, and we're going to pray. Father God, on behalf of everyone here, my fellow non-vets, all of our friends that never made it home, Father, and for the Gold Star mothers that are here whose sons and daughters lost their lives in Vietnam, we remember everyone, Father. Those of us who came back still have scars from that ungodly war. So we ask your blessing on everyone today, that somewhere, somehow, we find comfort and solace amongst each other. And now we pray all these things in Jesus' name, amen.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this ceremony honoring Vietnam veterans in commemoration of the 59th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War. I am Rob Slate with the Windham Region Veterans Coffeehouse. Our organization is proud to be a commemorative partner with the Department of Defense and the United States of America Vietnam War Commemoration, and are privileged to honor Vietnam veterans and their families here in Eastern Connecticut. The National Commemoration was authorized by Congress, established under the Secretary of Defense, and launched by the President of the United States. Its primary purpose is to thank and honor Vietnam veterans and their families for their service and sacrifice. Today, we join thousands of communities and peoples throughout our nation in doing just that. For those who might not be aware, the Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Act of 2017 established the 29th of March in perpetuity as a national day to recognize the previously unsung patriotism of our Vietnam veterans. So, National Vietnam Veterans Day joined the 6 other annual military-centric national holidays codified in law, among them Memorial Day, Independence Day, and Veterans Day. Our Commander-in-Chief also issued a presidential proclamation in 2017, which stated, and I quote, "To ensure the sacrifice of the 9 million heroes who served during this difficult chapter of our country's history are remembered for generations to come." I signed into law the Vietnam Veterans Recognition Act of 2017, designating March 29th of each year as National Vietnam Veterans Day. Throughout this commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, and every March 29th thereafter, we will honor all those who answered our nation's call to duty. We vow never again to confuse personal disapproval of war with prejudice against those who honorably wear the uniform of our armed forces. With conviction, our nation pledges our enduring respect, our continuing care, and our everlasting commitment to all Vietnam veterans, unquote. Now, many of you people may ask, why March 29th? Well, the answer is multifaceted. First, March 29th, 1973 was the day U.S. Military Assistance Command Vietnam was disestablished. In addition, March 29th, 1973 was the day the last U.S. combat troops departed Vietnam. Finally, March 29th, 1973 was the day Hanoi released the last of its acknowledged prisoners of war. This is why March 29th is a fitting choice for our National Vietnam Veterans Day. In addition to the President's proclamation lists the number of Vietnam veterans who served during the period as 9 million. This number reflects the fact that our national commemoration honors everyone who served on active duty in the United States Armed Forces from November 1st, 1955 to May 15th, 1975. No distinction is being made between veterans who served in country, in theater, or who were stationed elsewhere during the Vietnam period. All were called to serve. None could self-determine where they were stationed, and all were seen in the same way as a country that could not separate the war from the warrior. Each person who served during this period and rightly deserves our profound thanks. People also ask, how were those bookend dates chosen? The answer again is clear. November 1st, 1955 was selected to coincide with the official designation of the Military Assistance Advisory Group Vietnam, or MAGV, while May 15, 1975 marks the end of the battle, precipitated by the seizure of the SS Mayaguez, and the names of our service members lost in that battle are listed on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. So today we gather for three key reasons. First, to honor those in Eastern Connecticut who, in President Lincoln's words, gave their last full measure of devotion. Those who our family, are also counted among the 58,276 men and women, their average age 22.9 years, whose names are engraved in the polished black granite Vietnam Veterans Memorial, known as the Wall in Washington, D.C. Please join me in a moment of silence respecting their collective sacrifice. Thank you. Next, we recognize those who served but are no longer among us, as well as their families who endured untold sacrifices in supporting their service. If there is anyone here who is family to someone who served during the Vietnam War period but is no longer with us, we honor you both. Thank you for the sacrifices you made that enabled your loved one to serve. Finally, we gather today to humbly thank and honor the Vietnam veterans living in this community. Accordingly, I ask everyone who served on active duty at the time from November 1st, 1955 to 15 May 1975, regardless of location, to please honk your horns so that we might recognize your service and sacrifice, and finally acknowledge you in a way you so richly deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, your Vietnam veterans. We also commend our veterans' families members for the sacrifices you endured for this country. Clearly, this is something about this special day that stirs our hearts and helps cleanse those who served. It's at the memory of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, cutting into our hearts the same way their names are etched into the National Vietnam Memorial. It is a sobering fact that as of July 2019, 1,587 are still considered missing in action, and their families await word of their fate, and we continue our diligent work to fulfill our promise and bring them home. Or that more than 350,000 American warriors carry both seen and unseen scars from this war. And more than likely, some carrying those scars are among us today. Perhaps it is the fact that those who just honk their horns uniquely comprehend what this day truly represents. After all, they served and sacrificed, yet received no thank yous, no cheers, and no parades. Profoundly impacted by their experience, those who were able to quietly slip back the lives they had left as they had never been gone. Now, there is no denying that 50 years is a long time to wait. Regardless, it is vital that each and every one of your Vietnam veterans, your families, understand the prominent place you now occupy in the conscience of our nation, in the high measure of esteem in which you are held by friends, neighbors, and countrymen. Hopefully, the following facts will lend even more credence to my words. Over the past 8 years, more than 11,000 local, state, federal organizations, including the Windham Chamber of Commerce, have come alongside the Department of Defense as commemorative partners with our Vietnam War commemoration. These cumulatively have hosted 18,000 ceremonies in towns and cities across the country, during which Americans have been inspired publicly and individually thank and honor 2.6 million Vietnam veterans and their families thus far. That equates to 42% of the 6.2 million veterans living today in America and abroad who served during the Vietnam War period. While more remains to be done, these accomplishments, along with the establishment of our annual National Vietnam War Veterans Day, all point to remarkable progress as we pursue this noble mission. Today we have the distinct privilege to add to those numbers. As a lasting memento of the nation's gratitude, the Commemoration designed a Vietnam Veterans lapel pin with the intent of having Commemorative Partners publicly present one to each veteran who served during the Vietnam War. This lapel pin is beautifully struck and features an eagle's head representing courage, honor, and dedicated service, stripes representing our nation's flag, and 6 stars representing the allies who served, sacrificed, and fought alongside one another, all encircled by a ring of blue matching the canton of our national flag and signifying vigilance, perseverance, and justice. The phrase, "A grateful nation thanks and honors you," is embossed on the reverse side, along with the commemoration's name. Veterans, because of the COVID pandemic, we will not be personally pinning you with your lapel pin. Instead, to best ensure your safety during these unusual times, we have included your pin in the gift bag you received upon entering our event. A family member or friend can have the privilege of honoring you. Thank you and welcome home.
You all can have a seat if you would like. We're lucky today, the weather's beautiful. So 3 months ago, we invited the United States of America's President, Commander-in-Chief. He said he would be here this morning, but unfortunately for him, he got sick and he's in the hospital. So he sends his best regards to all of you. A letter from him. I send my greetings to those gathered today to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. As Commander-in-Chief and on behalf of a grateful nation, I extend my gratitude to all those who served in the United States Armed Forces during the Vietnam War and to their families for their remarkable sacrifices and admirable courage. In defense of liberty, you and your fellow warriors fought gallantly against the spread of communism and defended the freedom of the Vietnamese people. As a nation, we will never forget the sacrifices made by America's heroes and must ensure that their legacy is preserved in our nation's storied history of defending basic human rights from tyranny. Today's ceremony is a somber reminder of the price of freedom and that our nation is forever beholden to those that gave their full measure of devotion to protect our cherished liberties. Our nation enjoys the blessings of hard-earned peace and prosperity due to the selfless service of veterans who have helped America continue to shine as a beacon of hope around the world. Please know that your service, sacrifice, and patriotism are woven into the fabric of our nation, and we commend your efforts. May God bless you, and may He continue to bless the United States of America. Sincerely, Donald Trump.
Trumpet song we sing on land and sea, and howling gale, how high our purpose be. Semper Paratus is our guide, our fame, our glory too. To fight, to save or fight and die, I Coast Guard, we're here for you. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come. come zooming to meet our thunder. Attaboys, give 'em the gun. Down we dive, spouting our flame from under. Off with one hell of a roar. We live in flame, go down in flame. Nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. Anchors away, my boys, anchors away. Farewell to college joys, we sail at break of day. Through our last night on shore, drink to the foam. Until we meet once more, here's wishing you a happy voyage home. Montezuma, to the shores of Montezuma, to the shores of Tripoli. We will fight our country's battles on the air and land and sea. First we fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine. Over hill, over dale, we have hit the dusty trail, and those caissons go rolling along. In and out, hear them shout, counter-march and all about, and the caissons go rolling along. For it's happy in the field artillery, count out your numbers loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the caissons go rolling along. Caissons. In honor of all 5 branches of the military salute song. Thank you.
It is my great honor and pleasure this evening, or this morning, to introduce to all of you someone who is part of our family. Congressman Joe Courtney has been a stalwart of support for veterans causes, veterans health, the subbase in New London Groton, everything to do with the military and with veterans. And we cannot thank you enough, Congressman, for everything that you've done, including your efforts with Agent Orange and getting that covered. So today you are our honored guest as one of the very few who again put veterans on the top of the list. Congressman?
Thank you, Diane, for your kind introduction, and also really for the invitation to be here and to the Willimantic Veterans Coffeehouse, all the veteran service organizations that are part of that effort, that do so much to connect veterans with the system and really keep the promise of trying to bind the soldiers' wounds, as Abraham Lincoln said after the Civil War. That is the motto that stands over the Veterans Administration in Washington, D.C. As Rob's powerful remarks reminded us, the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War events were created as a result of the National Defense Authorization Act of 2008. And the start date for the 50th anniversaries took a couple of years to get the medals ready, which Rob described. And in 2012, after, again, there was just this huge outpouring all across the country of 50th anniversary events, I think there was a feeling that, a one-day, one-off, one-time
commemoration was not enough. And the Secretary of Defense in 2012, Chuck Hagel, who himself was a Purple Heart Vietnam War veteran, signed an order extending these events into 2025. But I have to say, not that many events really have still kind of kept the flame alive. And I just really want to say to Diane, the Chamber of Commerce, all the sponsors that are here today, thank you for really recognizing that this is a rolling, ongoing process, because with 9 million who served, really this is a large event in our nation's history, and we should not really just sort of cut it off with just 1 year or 1 day and one event. And the legislation which was signed into law in 2017 actually establishing a permanent Vietnam Veterans Memorial Day, which again, it was totally all of us coming together in the Congress and signed into law by the President, will ensure and foot stomp the fact that, again, the people who served during that conflict, that war, are going to be recognized in perpetuity. It also, I think, the benefit of holding these events, which again is primarily about putting the spotlight on people's service and the challenges that they faced, also, I think, brought to light about the fact that we have a lot of unfinished business in terms of Vietnam veterans, making sure that we keep the promise that they are going to be cared for the wounds, both visible and invisible, that occurred during that conflict. One particular issue, which in this area was so incredibly intense, was the fact that Agent Orange benefits were denied to Navy and Sea Service veterans because of a ruling of the VA in the early 2000s that basically required a foot on the ground showing of an individual who served during that conflict before they would be entitled to presumptive eligibility for Agent Orange benefits. Last year, we finally got rid of that foot on the ground requirement with the Blue Water Agent Orange Fairness Act, which again was a bipartisan effort that took years to come together, but was finally pushed through. President Trump signed it into law starting last January. The folks who served in the sea services, who again had conditions which were on the VA's list that dioxin created, are now finally getting those benefits, long overdue, and then frankly, tragically, too late for a lot of folks who, again, were on the Navy ships, the Coast Guard ships that were exposed to Agent Orange, but because they didn't actually dock and get off those ships, are now finally getting that help. But there's still more work to be done. People who served in the submarine force, because of the fact that their service was classified, we are still working with the Department of Navy to get through a declassification process to show that they too are also within the scope of that new benefit. And that work is still ongoing. I want to thank Manny Meneses, who works in my office, a submariner of 30 years, who has been bird dogging that issue almost on a daily and weekly basis. And we have, again, commitment from Secretary Braithwaite, the Secretary of the Navy, that they are going to make that happen to make sure that those folks who served in the submarine force are also going to get the benefit of that new law. Lastly, there's also still some unfinished business in terms of Agent Orange benefits. There's a manifestation requirement for some particular ailments, which again still acts as a barrier for people who served in Vietnam and who in many instances directly handled dioxin. As many of you know, we have a champion here in Eastern Connecticut, Jerry Wright from Andover, Connecticut, who with his motorcycle brigade has been crisscrossing the country to raise awareness about the need to finish that unfairness, to get rid of that unfairness with the Agent Orange Fairness Act. Again, it's been introduced in both houses. We just were comparing notes a few minutes ago. Jerry's here, and we again are making progress, certainly with the rank and file, but we still have work to do. And I want to again, while we're here today, publicly thank an amazing person, an amazing patriot, an amazing veteran, Jerry Wright from Andover, Connecticut, for his great work. So again, these events matter because really getting people together to just keep hammering away at the fact that this conflict, which sometimes was treated as a forgotten war, has to be flushed out and made public. And because of that, that will create the external pressure so that we bring justice to the people who served in that conflict. And again, to all of the folks here from the veteran service organizations that, again, are just diligently, even in the middle of a pandemic, coming up with a way, socially distanced, following CDC guidelines, to come out, not on Zoom, but in person, to make sure that the service of the people who served in the Vietnam War is remembered. Thank you all so much, and to all the, again, to all the sponsors, and particularly the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you and welcome home.
Our next speaker I would like to introduce is Petty Officer 3rd Class Steve Picaro with a message to all of you.
Morning, Diane, and thank you. It's an honor to be here. Diane asked me to spend a few minutes sharing a little of my story. 37 years ago, I was a young sailor stationed here at the subbase. I joined the Navy to see the world from the greater Boston area, and the Navy saw fit to ship me down to Groton, Connecticut. I had a great time. I worked in the operating room in the hospital, and I had the honor, and what I want to share with you is what I learned from Vietnam veterans. When I joined the service, I had the saltiest senior chief who served in the riverboats as my company commander. He had a mouth on him that would almost make my wife blush. She's here, but she's over the years got used to that. And the funny thing is, once I joined the service in the early 80s, I was fortunate to have a large number of Vietnam veterans as my mentors, my guide, my coaches, my instructors, but more importantly, they were the role models for me. I served down at the subbase for 4.5 years, and during that time I met my wife. Somewhere along the line, I don't know if it was the uniform or my dance moves, but we ended up getting married. We were fortunate to have 3 boys. Our family motto with 3 boys was all for one and one for all. And for a long time, that was one of the things that we shared with them, that work ethic. Everything I learned in the military, I shared with my sons. They were all scouts. I shared that with my scouts. I shared that with the community. I took a lot of the things I learned from my military service, my Vietnam veterans who taught me about honor, service, courage, sacrifice, and I shared that with my boys. Now, it's appropriate that we're having this meeting today. My middle son is somewhat of a military historian. Today is his birthday. So I want to give a shout out to my son, Kyle. Happy birthday. And he was also the one at 12 years old said, "Dad, I think I want to be a Marine." Well, as you know, as a sailor, that was a little painful to hear, but I was happy that he was putting a uniform on, so I said, okay, I can live with that. So I went through scouting with all of my boys, and a few years ago, my older son said, "Dad, after spending some time in school, I think I want to serve my country." He came home, and I said, "Great, another Navy man." He said, "Nope, I joined the Marines." So again, not a big thing. I can live with that. I was fortunate, my wife's family, little did I know that she had ancestors and family members that served all the way back since the Revolutionary War. I didn't have that, but my sons had that. They've had members of their family serve from the Revolutionary War on. My father-in-law served in Korea. My brother-in-law served at the end of the Vietnam War. I served during the Cold War. Now, the interesting part, as my older son went into the Marines, I mentioned I have 3 boys, right? All for one, one for all. What do you think the other boys did? Yep. So I'm here to tell my Vietnam veteran friends, thank you. You're not forgotten. Your legacy lives. I took everything I learned and I passed it on to my sons. And the best thing I can do is share this. Your sacrifice and your service, your memories, your commitment, your courage has been transferred to the next generation. I have 3 sons serving as active duty Marines, and they learned from you. Maybe not directly, but indirectly. So my message today, thank you. You're not forgotten. Your legacy still lives. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce the two co-chairs of the Windham Region Coffeehouse. They have a special honor to give. Lenny Incandela and Dan Arnini.
This morning, we want to take a moment to thank one particular Vietnam veteran who has put everything he has into fighting for those Vietnam period veterans who counted Agent Orange. Jerry Wright. Jerry Wright from Andover, Connecticut was a guest at the State of the Union address in 2019 in Washington, D.C. He has been a force rallying support from federal lawmakers to make health care more accessible to veterans exposed to the toxic chemical Agent Orange. Jerry has journeyed throughout our country, visiting 32 states to speak to veterans and their families about the long-term effects of Agent Orange exposure. In 2018, he traveled over 10,000 miles, towing his trailer, painted, sprayed, and betrayed, and collecting more than 6,000 signatures from supporters. He has been working with Congressman Courtney and John Larson, who are co-sponsors of a House bill that would remove some obstacles preventing veterans from receiving appropriate health benefits. As so many Vietnam veterans died from the effects of Agent Orange, Jerry continues to be a strong force and advocate for all those affected. He has made it his mission to not let anyone forget what happened and make sure that our veterans are well cared for. Because of his efforts, his fight, his unending love and respect for his fellow Vietnam veterans, we honor Jerry White and give him a very small token of our appreciation. Jerry, thank you for all you do and wish you good health and happiness in your future endeavors on our behalf.
You want me to give a speech, but I'm usually good for an hour, and I was told to keep it, no, down to a minute. I want to thank you and to let everybody know that we are putting an Agent Orange monument in our Veterans Monument Park in Andover at the end of April into May. The stone is black granite. It has an Agent Orange heart on the front, and you can see that you can go to my email or Facebook and you'll see that in there. I'd like to welcome everybody. Please watch the paper and you'll see the monument that is dedicated to every veteran and their families who were exposed to this daily dangerous dioxin that affected all of us. Thank you.
So the next few minutes, I want to introduce a few people who represent organizations who do so much for all veterans, including our Vietnam veterans. Our Coffeehouse and Military Service Council have worked with hundreds of organizations and agencies that are out there to help and support our veterans. There are several of them, a very few very, very special ones that we have taken under our wing and that are here today to introduce to you. The reason for this is every single one of you should be taking advantage of or participating in these organizations. We think that they're very special. The first person that I'd like to introduce is Matt Sparks from Honor Flight, Connecticut. I had the pleasure of going on their first inaugural flight and I took a 95-year-old World War II POW from the Battle of the Bulge. I was his assistant for the day. It was an amazing experience, one that I will never forget, one that he will never forget. And I'd like to have Matt come up here, talk about Honor Flight, if you don't mind, please. Thank you.
Good morning. I think I have to kneel down here to get near the microphone. Let me join my colleagues here in saying, first, welcome home and thank you for your service. We're an organization that we provide trips for veterans to Washington, D.C. so they might experience the honor to go and see their monuments. We have 3 monuments in D.C. that we visit. We visit the World War II Memorial, the Korean Memorial, and the Vietnam Wall. We started in 2004. In Connecticut, we're a relatively new chapter. We just celebrated 1 year, and after our first World War II trip that Diane alluded to, we were shut down with the COVID-19 crisis. We haven't been able to make our next trip, and we're praying in the spring we'll be able to resume and continue our mission. We go in order of World War II. That's what we started at, to make sure every World War II veteran was able to see the memorial and experience the honor of what that was built for and for that group of people. After that, we move to Korea, and then we move on to Vietnam. At this juncture, we're accepting applications for Vietnam, but we still have to take our senior vets first, as their travel time is limited. We hope that you would visit our website, hear our story. It's a day of honor, as Diane alluded to, as she was a participant and took a World War II veteran to DC. It's a great day. It's a great day for them. It's a long day, but it's a day that they're able to experience the honor and the thanks and appreciation and love for what they did for their country. We hasten the day that we'll be able to bring forth the Vietnam vets, and we're moving in that direction. I would urge any Vietnam vets out there that would like to visit the wall and experience that as a day of honor and a day of thanks. We certainly would encourage you to go to our website, fill out an application. We'd be honored to have you go with us. All our information is on there. It's honorflightconnecticut.org, and we appreciate an opportunity. Again, on behalf of myself and all our esteemed guests here today, thank you for all you've done. We can't tell you how much it has meant to our country as a whole. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. You really need to experience this if you haven't done it, so please make sure that you go on the website and sign up for the trip. The veteran is free. Matt, his son, and many volunteers spend all year long trying to solicit sponsorships so that the event can happen and be wonderful, and none of the veterans have to pay for it. So again, Matt, thank you to everyone at Honor Flight Connecticut. The next group I'd like to acknowledge is the Quilts of Valor. If you have not received one of these quilts, I also again recommend that you sign up for it. These ladies are amazing. They go out of their way, they buy materials on their own dime, spend lots and lots of hours putting so much love into each and every one of the quilts that are individual. So again, thank you very much, ladies. Jane Doherty, would you like to come?
Thank you so much. You certainly have the pull. What an absolutely gorgeous day to be outside in sunshine. This is spectacular. We are thrilled to be here. The we part includes Nancy Burns. She is a group leader for the Old Saybrook Peacemakers. And I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Jan Roberta, who many of you may know. If you have received a quilt, you've probably met the energetic Jan. She works out of the Stitch Chicks quilt shop down in Franklin, and Miss Nancy and I will be stopping there and replenishing the vacuum, refilling the vacuum in the car. We're taking quilts out and replacing it with fabric. Quilts of Valor is an internet-based foundation. We had our start in 2003. Catherine Roberts, a mom, nurse midwife, and a quilter, was about to deploy her most precious son, Nate, to Iraq. Scary place, scary time. So rather than watch the awful news of the day, and as an aside, the news hasn't gotten any better since then, she turned to her sewing machine and she made a quilt. In those days, she lived in Delaware. She took the quilt to Bethesda and she met John Callerson. Now, John is a chaplain. He blessed that first quilt and presented it to a young man from the upper Midwest who had lost a leg. Life-changing. He's away from home, strange, scary place. Hospital situation isn't what most of us consider warm and friendly. And somebody he didn't even know cared enough to make him a quilt. John was touched by that young man's reaction and came back to Catherine and said, "We need to do this again." So from Catherine's kitchen table, reaching out, twisting arms, urging, conniving, I'm one of the ones that fairly soon afterwards she started twisting my arm and asking, would you do this, would you do that, and so on. So I've had the pleasure of working with this organization and watching it grow. We're almost 17 years old. Quilts of Valor is actually international. There are chapters in Canada, United Kingdom, and Australia. But Quilts of Valor in the United States, from sea to shining sea, in almost 17 years, has wrapped over 250,000 of our warriors. Now, there are 3 to 4 million of them out there, so please consider this the siren song of recruitment. We are not all female. Some of our quilters are guys. They absolutely love us. We are lots of fun to play with, and I know every vet knows how to iron. And we can use you. We can buff up on your skills and put you to work, because nice, unwrinkled fabric is one of the key ingredients of making a wonderful quilt. Now, a quilt is approximately 10 yards of fabric, and 250,000 quilts, you add another 0 to the end of that great big number, and that's the fabric we've already used. So we are a force to be reckoned with, haha. The fabric industry says, what would you folks like to see? So when Catherine got started back in 2003, finding Coast Guard fabric was probably nigh on impossible. Now you can find fabric in different designs, different colorways for all 5 branches of the service. Some of the things that the designers are doing are absolutely knock your socks off, and we are absolutely thrilled to have such a wonderful, wonderful playground to exercise our skills within. A quilt is 3 layers. Now, I freely admit we are happily crazy because, like Nancy and I are going to do, we're going down to Stitch Sticks and we're going to buy big pieces of fabric. Then we're going to cut them up into little pieces, and we're going to combine them with other friends of little pieces and sew them back into a big piece of fabric. And that's going to be the very colorful top of the quilt. The back is usually somewhat plainer and usually a solid piece of large fabric. And then the middle of the quilt is the nice warm fuzzy stuff, the batting that keeps you nice and warm and snuggy on nights like tonight might be. To keep all 3 layers together, there is a wonderful great big machine called a long arm. They range in size from 8 feet to 14 feet in length, and some of our quilters have long arm machines in their homes. So you can, again, here's the recruitment call. You can shop for us, you can iron, you can cut, you can sew, you can long arm. After it's long arm, there's a raw edge. If you would like to hand sew, we can get you to do that and put the binding on, so that as the quilt is made, it has gone through a series of hands. It's rather unusual for just one person to do the whole thing. And we know where these quilts are going, and we know how important these quilts are, so that every layer of the quilt is infused with love and care and prayer. These are safe places for warriors who are having tough days. These are healing quilts. These have saved lives. They are absolutely incredibly amazing. So Diane, I think you were going to get us some extra hands to help wrap people, because we don't just hand you a quilt. So be careful. We're going to come get up close and personal with you guys, and that's part of the fun thing here. You've probably tired of listening to me, so Jean is going to, one at a time, read the names and tell you a little bit about our recipients.
Hi. Our first recipient is James Massel. He's an Army veteran, served in Vietnam from 1968 to 1971. Gotta stand.
The first person goes, everybody goes to school.
That's a practice run. Okay, our next one is Janie Boss. He's an Army Vietnam vet. He served 1967 to 1970. Our next one is Ronald Gingras. He served in the Navy in Cuba from 1948 to 1952. Okay, our next one is George Noonan. He served in the Navy in Cuba from 1967 to 1970. Our next one is Vincent Audette. He served in the Army. He was stationed in the States from 1966 to 1968. Okay, our next one is Robert Slate, U.S. Air Force, KC-135 pilot, served in Thailand, 1969 to 1976. Our next one is Arthur Evans. He served in the Army in South Vietnam from 1968 to 1970. Our next one is Maurice Collin. He's U.S. Marine Corps. He was wounded in Vietnam, and he served from 1965 to 1969. Our next one is David Tella. He's an Army Vietnam veteran, and he served from 1968 to 1971. Our next one is Christopher Paulus. He was in the Navy. He's from Desert Storm. He's the commander of our VFW post. He served from 1988 to 1992. Congratulations, everyone.
Gentlemen, you have in your chairs your pillowcase. It's an easy way to transport your quilt. There's also a letter. It will tell you a little bit about what we said today and how to care for it and so on. Now then, you're all military. You're all used to taking orders, so look out, here comes some more. Finger shaking orders. These are very, very serious. These quilts are to be used. Do not put them in the pillowcase and take them home and put them away. They go on your couch, your recliner, wherever you spend the most amount of time. They are to be used. If you have four-leggeds in your house, they're allowed on them or under them. Your quilts have some fur, because both Nancy's house and my house have quilt inspectors. One's gray at my house, the other one's black, so they've been well checked. If you have kiddos, grandkiddos or so on, like yours, the checkerboard, that's a great game board. Use your quilts. If you are rooting for your favorite teams now that sports are back on TV, and they do something wonderful or incredibly stupid, and you share your snack with your quilt, it's not a problem. It was washed before it came to you, can be washed again. Cold weather, cold water, I'm getting ahead of myself. Cold water, in the washing machine, a little while in the dryer, and get back and use it. Now then, this is gonna get a little tricky, but would you all stand up and kind of stand together? Can you make a line right across here? Because we'd like to see all of your faces. People with cameras, get ready to fire away. Guys, you're gonna be in a shooting gallery here. I know you need to sort of say, but fill in a little bit. And when they stop shooting at you, then you're gonna get your next order. Oh, see, even Diane's being bossy here. Pitch, make him a space. They're still clicking at you. All right, don't go away, camera people. Can everybody turn around? Because this is the eye candy. This is what the quilters out there in Facebook land want to see. They want to see how the fabric was used, who did what with patterns and all that sort of stuff. This is absolutely wonderful. Oh, you got more folks shooting at you now. Diane, are you close by? All yours. I got them lined up for you.
Okay, gentlemen, you can relax now. And it is warm up here, so I'm sure no one will be too offended if you put the quilts down a little bit. Again, folks, we've picked these great national organizations because they do such wonderful things for our veterans. Please take advantage of them. Their names are listed in your program. The next person I'd like to introduce is Michelle Garabedian. She is the chairman of our Military Service Council, and she has been amazing at pulling together our wreaths across America.
Good morning. Thank you all so very much for coming today. I am absolutely honored to be standing here before you. As Diane mentioned, I'm Michelle Garabedian. I'm the chair of the Military Service Council, and my pet project is Wreaths Across America. For those of you who aren't aware of the program, Wreaths Across America is a 501c3 national nonprofit organization that was founded to continue and expand the annual wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington. That began by a businessman named Merrill Worcester in 1992. The organization's mission is to remember the fallen, honor those that serve their families, and teach the next generation the value of freedom. This mission is carried out in part each year by coordinating wreath-laying ceremonies in December at Arlington, as well as thousands of veteran cemeteries and other locations in all 50 states and beyond. And this does include our Windham Willimantic Cemetery. We are now in our third year, and our goal is to be able to place 275 wreaths this year to honor all those heroes that are laid to rest there. We would love for you to join us at our ceremony on December 19th at 11:30 in the morning. The ceremony itself will probably begin at noon. And any information as far as signing up to volunteer or sponsor a wreath, you can go to the Chamber's website or wreathsacrossamerica.org and search Windham Willimantic Cemetery. Again, to all of the veterans here and to all of our people who helped us today, I am honored and I sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart.
The last organization that I'd like to talk about today is called Soldiers Angels. If any of you out there like to do writing, this might be an organization that you can join. In the bags that you received today is your Vietnam War lapel pin, an official pin. You have a letter from the president and some other materials. Also you will find in there is mail call. Ladies from around our country, all 52 states, wrote letters to each of you, welcoming you home and thanking you for your service. We put out the call for today's event, and literally boxes of cards were arriving at my house for over a month. So do check out your bags and the letters that you received. These ladies buy the cards themselves, pay for the postage to me themselves. Again, all to honor our veterans. If you'd like to work with them and become a pen pal, feel free to go on their website and sign up. The last thing that I'd like to say today is I want to thank again those people who helped make this happen. We did have a few business sponsors: McClintock Roofing, Atwood Dementia Group, Renee's Cleaning Service, JP Mustard Agency, Nate's Home and Lawn Care, and Brady Landscaping. Rob and Kim Slate, Dan and Jean Arnini, Dante, Luis Grassi, all the signage here. Dave Tello covered the sound system. The Wireless Zone, as you know, provided us the bags. The Elks Riders from Danielson and Willimantic, and the Patriot Guard Riders of Connecticut. Amazing organizations. The Yukon Army ROTC, who helped you park. And pretty darn good, because you're all pretty straight here. Dan's Awards, and again, the town of Windham for allowing us to use the field, and with all the help from Public Works. There's a few people left on stage. Again, I just want to make sure that we thank who were here to make this event really, really cool. The 102nd Army Band, guys, thank you very much. Our Marine Corps Color Guard from New Haven, who Valerie Rogers. You guys are so lucky she's sang and not me. That would not have been good at all. Our Rifle Salute from the Lebanon American Legion Post 180. One of our buglers, Cole Rogers, who played taps. Again, Dante did our opening prayer. And of course, we've introduced you to all of the speakers. This event was amazing because all of you came here today. And I know that nothing that I can say, or anyone else up here on the stage, can take away the memories that you had both during your service and when you came home. But all that we can do is move forward and try to make up for everything that you experienced that was not amazing. So I recommend that you, again, take advantage of some of these organizations. Sign up for an honor flight. Have a quilt of valor. Buy a wreath for a fellow fallen soldier for Wreaths of America. I'd like to end today's ceremony with a couple of amazing songs. Again, I want to thank our bagpiper. Oh, Aldwin, where are you? Sorry about that, Aldwin. He's been very great. So again, I turn it over. Thank you again for coming. Thank you all of our volunteers today that helped, especially my family who had to put up with me for the last week of painful planning. I appreciate that very much.
And last but not least, how about everybody give an applause here for Diane for doing all of this. God help us.
I'd like to have everyone please stand. Please uncover. Present Hans, Commander of the Color Guard. Retire to colors, please.
For those of you who do know me, my name is Val Rogers, and I was fortunate to serve during Desert Storm as well, entertaining our military troops and their families from 1990 to 92. And
Order arms.
It's all right, that's okay. Yeah, that's good. And this is the song that we always ended all of our shows with. It is God Bless the USA, so it's appropriate for today to end with all of you in this great nation.
If tomorrow all the things were gone.
We don't want that one. We want the band. We don't want Lee Greenwood. Let's play it with the band. Sorry about that. We're gonna try it with the band, everybody. So thanks for your patience. Let's go. If tomorrow all the things were gone I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my family by my side, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause our flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget those who died and gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills, from the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American's heart, and it's time we stand to say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget those who died and gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. For there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so very much.
Close out today with Aldwin on his bagpipes. Again, just to remind you, you're going to be exiting over here. If you'd like to join us at the Fin, Fur, and Feather Club in Chaplin, the address and directions are on your program. We have hamburgers and hot dogs for anyone who'd like to join us. Aldwin?